CBS News in 60 Minutes is receiving the knife from Bari Weiss. Finally, she's listening to what Elon said. Now it's time for a panic across the network news. ABC, NBC, much to lose as they worry. Will a moderated, sensible center kind of news on CBS blow their cover and give them the blues? Hello, folks. It is a beautiful day. Welcome back, one and all, where we heed the call. We're explaining entertainment. Keeping you ahead of the culture curve is what we do, and we love it. Today, we're diving into what's happening at CBS News, where they are admitting it full out and calling out the rest of the media in a way we've never seen before. There are doubts, however, that Bari can pull it off. We'll tell you what we think about it. Click the like button, drop a comment down below, let us know your thoughts. And folks, without further ado, here we go. All right, they're cleaning house at CBS News finally, and Bari Weiss is taking a hammer to the networks. They're freaking out, and here's what it's all about, folks. We said after the Mutiny attempt 2.0 at 60 Minutes, it was time for a lot of people to go. Bari Weiss finally agrees. From CBS Evening News, we can read it to you or we can play it. I choose to play it. Here's what they're saying about themselves on CBS.
A lot has changed since the first person sat in this chair, but for me, the biggest difference is people do not trust us like they used to. And it's not just us.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What? What? They're saying it out loud? Bari Weiss, what are you up to? One more time.
The difference is people do not trust us like they used to. And it's not just us. It's all of legacy media. And I get it. I get it because
Wait, what? They just referred to themselves as legacy media and all of the other networks too? By tomorrow, they'll be calling themselves Dinosaur News like we do. Oh my, continue and be still my heart.
I've been hearing about it from just about everybody for more than 20 years as I've traveled America on this assignment or that.
20 years? I'm going to have to stop. I can't keep interrupting this man. It's not, the bit is wearing out too quick.
My mom's neighbors in West Virginia, my own neighbors in New York City. Thousands and thousands of conversations in between. Sometimes people want to talk to me about our coverage of NAFTA or the Iraq War. Other times it's all about Hillary Clinton's emails or Russiagate. Or more recently, COVID lockdowns, Hunter Biden's laptop, or the president's fitness for office. The point is, on too many stories, the press has missed the story because we've taken into account the perspective of advocates and not the average American. Or we put too much weight in the analysis of academics or elites and not enough on you. And I know this because at certain points, I have been you. I have felt this way too. I felt like what I was seeing and hearing on the news didn't reflect what I was seeing and hearing in my own life.
Guys, we'll pause there.
Is he running for office at this point? This is great stuff.
He's the anchor, Jonas.
It's a little euphemistic about some of he's washing over some of the problems of the media a little bit in a way that he's referencing it, but he's also softening it at the same time.
He's getting the point across.
Yeah.
So this is a major milestone because now this is the kind of tone that's going to be on CBS Evening News going forward. You think 60 Minutes is going to get to exist the way it has been? No. Bari Weiss has had enough. Go into the article out of Variety by Pat Saperstein. Bari Weiss invites George Clooney to visit Broadcast Center after he tells Variety she is dismantling CBS News.
Good.
Now, why is she inviting George Clooney in? Because she's unafraid.
Well,
yeah.
She knows that he won't try to kiss her.
Well, he'll expose his own buffoonery because he's not a very bright dude. So it'll kind of put exposure onto him when she will use her journalistic brain and ask questions. This is why when you watch, what people call divisive podcasts, you see masters of people. The people who ask questions are the ones that master podcasting. It's like Paul Chatto. Paul will engage you in conversation and ask you an interesting question. He can put you in a bad situation. And Bari Weiss is more than capable of doing that. She has the background to do that. And if you watch something as daily as like the whatever podcast or something similar. If you watch Myron Gaines or whatever, they dismantle their panelists, the people they invite on the show, by asking them, questions that's going to basically allow them to disassemble themselves. Whereas Bari Weiss is, in my opinion, somebody who is more than capable of doing that, which is why she got put in charge of a news organization. Journalism today does not ask questions. They don't. They take the narrative or they take a press release, and that's today's news. And that's a problem. And so when you see this guy coming out and pandering to an extent, to address what Jonas was saying, at least addressing or acknowledging that, yes, we did not do a good job on all of these things, but to maybe project forward that it's possible that we can do better. That's kind of what he's trying to say is, we're not just going to say, do better, Senator. We'll try to do better ourselves.
But to give you an idea,
to
give you an idea of the confidence that Bari Weiss is bringing, and I know some people love Bari Weiss, some people hate Bari Weiss, most people are in the middle, and some people have never even heard of the lady.
Yeah.
But to give you an idea of the confidence, George Clooney just became a French citizen, he and his wife. Of course, because that is in vogue right now to escape the orange men. So, supposedly you don't leave the U.S., but you get your citizenship somewhere else. Bari Weiss has responded to Mr. Clooney and says, "Bonjour, Mr. Clooney. Big fan of your work. It sounds like you'd like to learn more about ours. This is an open invitation to visit the CBS Broadcast Center, where I'm spending the holidays working to relaunch the evening news with my colleagues. Tune in January 5th. And that clip you saw at the beginning, folks, was referencing the changes coming on January 5th. And I got a feeling 60 Minutes is going to be following that. Panel, the problem for the other networks is if she has no fear of being dislodged, and I don't think she has any fear of that at all, they're going to now be a moderated voice in network news that's going to put pressure on ABC and NBC to not be so cuckoo. What do you think about that? Does this suddenly put pressure on the other networks?
Yeah.
Will they have to modify then, Paul, or do they continue to do what they've been doing all along?
Well, part of it I think is going to be related to their finances and whether there's an uptick in the ratings. The networks are in trouble overall because we know linear TV is collapsing, right? Is what Bari Weiss trying to do too little too late? That's really the question.
Sure, maybe. I mean, that's what we're looking at when we look at the landscape of the last 12 months and we say, okay, the ABC News hosted a presidential debate, which should be one of the biggest things ever. And it was Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump, the only debate that would feature them. And the Joe Rogan interview or conversation with Donald Trump outdid it in viewership. So you're right. At that point, you say, maybe the new media has taken over.
Now, that being said, it's also true that a lot of commentators online source their information from newspapers and reporters. People tend to forget that. Where are we getting our stories from? So if there isn't some kind of, let's call it legacy media out there, we're not going to be able to do anything that we're doing either. So I think having serious journalism with, let's say, the volume of people that's behind this guy, we don't have this staff. We don't have this budget that is behind this gentleman, correct?
Correct.
So it would be better for everybody if the legitimate news organizations that have the budget, that have the resources, actually do real news. And sorry, go ahead.
No, let me add to that. Because when we talk about Bari Weiss, we're talking about the Free Press, an organization she started.
Right.
With other people's money, supporting her to get started, but in a good way. And that was another outlet that I would use for information. She had resources, and, I utilized her resources to do my own further reporting. And look, it's not hard to get farther into a story doing your own research based on the work of others, which CNN clearly indicates by the way they're covering this massive fraud scandal problem. They're clearly not even bothering with. They're attacking the people who are finding the fraud because, they're trying to convey the racist message. It's complete garbage. But I think to what you're saying, Paul, I think that I think that in the future, maybe we'll be able to come to rely on some more of the lamestream media, just maybe not everybody.
I'm concerned that tribalism is anathema to rationalism to the point now where you can say something truthful about an individual organ or an organization or a people that you don't like, but to toe the line, you're going to hate it, even though you're faced with the bare facts. I find it very, very difficult now where people are defending things just to defend their tribal position.
Let me start, which is exhausting.
It's exhausting. When you
when you say that you like something and somebody views it as less pure than what you say you like, for whatever those boundaries are, and they try to say that, oh well, you have sold out in some way,
or they're shooting the messenger.
Exactly.
And I try to be really careful that even if I don't like someone like a Tucker Carlson, if at that moment he says something that I agree with, well, I'm agreeing with it. That's what agreeing means. Right?
Let me step into a controversial take on this and see what you guys make of it. I think what we're describing is something that we're very akin and accustomed to dealing with, and we have been over all of human history, maybe. And that is, this is a trait that we highly associate with young females, teenage girls. Young women at that age will set aside whatever they actually believe in order to maintain their social group and to maintain their social status by applying, and then they'll emotionally wrap themselves into that thing of saying, oh, well, because my friends or those who are higher up in the in the social structure of my environment, because they believe this, therefore I'll believe this, and I'll take it on the emotionality of it. Mm-hmm. And somehow society has turned into a bunch of teenage girls that are operating that way. The problem is teenage girls don't need to run the world. But suddenly that's the way we're all acting.
Yeah, it's leverage support, and I agree with you 100%. It's one of the reasons why when the two gentlemen to my right, or I guess on the screen left, when they were talking about the final result of season 5 of the Netflix show Stranger Things, I asked questions and I only drew upon what they were saying because I already have a very low opinion of what season 5 part 2 was all about, because to me it was essentially naked support of an agenda or messaging, whereas it sounded better than that from someone like Paul. So my opinion is informed by not just obviously the things I source for myself, but from the people that I rely on to give me good information. Paul Chatto, Fake Wizard, many other folks on this panel, I consider relative authorities to what we're talking about, because this is our wheelhouse, for lack of a better way to describe it.
And I have opined in the past that people intrinsically or obviously know the truth, but will defend the investment they've made
leveraged
in their lie. Yeah. So that's the problem, is that they've made way too big an emotional investment. They potentially have friends that will unmutualize them if they go against the going concern. And that is my biggest concern. And you can tell in any X discussion when someone has invested too much in their belief of something and not enough in the facts.
And I'll tell you this too. People on the other side of the political spectrum, I have been deeply disappointed by them in this last, let's say, 4 months, because what I have witnessed, and I'm not going to name names, but I have witnessed people, 50-year-old women and 40-year-old men who are acting like 14-year-old girls online. And I get the strategy behind it, but in terms of like the long term, They're going to have to learn real fast. That's the way that you end your career path. And apparently for some of them, it's a pattern.
I think that the lack of thoughtfulness that the president of the United States exhibited in the death of Rob Reiner, in that moment he should have been bigger than the moment, and he did not exercise. He did not exercise thoughtfulness.
Well,
because
take that as a utility point, Culture.
Yeah, that's
from a
what
utility standpoint.
Yeah.
What benefited him there?
Nothing. In fact, it lowered, to me, it lowered his credibility and his inability, perhaps at times, to remove himself from the emotional side of the equation and deal purely in logic. Because I don't want anybody for their political beliefs to suffer the most dire of consequences, and set aside whether that had happened recently or not, and just look at this as a tragedy, which is what it was. And I didn't think very highly of Rob for his behavior, but at the same time I would thought very highly of his work as a director and writer.
So Bari Weiss is trying to make sure that people think highly of CBS News, and then maybe that'll have an influence on the network news. Hey, Fake Wizard, I'll give you the last word on this one. Your thoughts on where we're going with the news. Man, what great points have been made. Summarize this up for us and give us your take.
Yeah, CBS can come out and make these announcements and say, hey, we're going to try to be as perhaps middle grounded as we can be. We're just going to try to report the facts. We'll see. We'll see. I think, it's one thing to say it. It's another thing to do it. We've heard things, maybe not to this extent before, but, there are still shareholders involved. There are still corporations involved that need to be reported back to, and there are still narratives to be pushed ahead. I look forward to seeing how CBS covers the Nick Shirley story and how they cover some other stories that are fraud adjacent. That will be pretty telling, because that's some of the most important things happening right now that need to be covered, and they need to be covered fairly and truthfully. Yeah. And until CBS proves that they're going to cover these things truthfully, we don't know.
As ever, folks, we endeavor to have a good time here on the Pro Channel, and I have to say that spending time with you, talking about things that truly matter, like the stories that shape our lives and our culture, well, it is the ride of a lifetime to steal from Bob Iger. And that's the only thing we'll steal from Bob, because he has great security around his yacht. Folks, as we get ready to say goodbye, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it, and stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment right on down below. Let us know your thoughts. We would love to hear from you. And folks, worry not, for more content is still on the way. 3 or 4 times a day. Let's do 4. I think that's better. And you know what? Don't forget that the Pro Show is live Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon Eastern. You can also join us for our friends on That Park Place, our partner program. We have a good time there too. Folks, until the next time we get the opportunity to have a good time with you, keep learning, keep growing, and as ever, keep having fun.